Greetings, historians, and welcome to a Fireside Chat. I'm Mr. Nesossi here for a very quick check-in. This won't be a long Fireside Chat because we've got some important information to get out to you that I hope you'll find beneficial to you in the week ahead. Let's just wrap our heads around where we're at right now in the course. You should be, at least by this evening, by 11:59 or so tonight, completing your Pearl Harbor context and thesis. Again, just a small context, broad overview about what life is going on sociologically for the Japanese as well as economically for the Japanese and why they attacked Pearl Harbor, getting the United States into World War II. So that micro write should be on Canvas. You should see the assignment there and be able to post that through Turnitin, and I'll get that graded for you sometime this week. You should have also completed that Pearl Harbor module as well as the America on the Home Front module. Lots of good information there on the America on the Home Front, finding out what's happening with women and minorities and Japanese Americans and Native Americans, and what life is like within the 48 states of the United States during World War II. Tomorrow, I'll be starting a lecture on the military campaigns. We'll begin in the Pacific, work our way through Midway and Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima, all the way up to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as looking at the campaigns in Europe. We'll start in North Africa, chasing Rommel through the desert, heading up through Italy, the D-Day invasion, of course, Battle of the Bulge, and then capturing the capital of Berlin. So I hope you'll be tuned into that. And then on Tuesday, we will have our micro write for the atomic bomb. Was the United States justified in dropping an atomic bomb twice on the island nation of Japan? And then we'll begin our period 7 kind of chronological overview, conceptual overview, and you'll be able to access, I hope, at least AP Classroom and do those 39 multiple choice questions. We'll talk about that later on this week. Just want to keep that on the horizon. We'll have our Zoom meetings as well for you on Friday. Now, some of you did express that you would like to get together on Zoom throughout the week for perhaps when I do the period 7 overview, kind of the recap of period 7, and I'll be happy to schedule that for you, and we'll get that information. I'll get that information out to you, and we'll get that scheduled here in the week ahead. But I know a bit of information that you guys have been waiting to hear. I've been patiently waiting to hear about it, and that is grading. So let's get down to brass tacks and talk about grading and how we're going to finish out the 5th 6 weeks and what we're going to do with the upcoming 6th 6 weeks. So let's pop in our slideshow here and take a look at the online grading protocols for the 5th 6 weeks. Now, this deals with what you already have existing in your home access center, and we're simply going to add, get ready for this, 1 grade to what you already have in Hack. Just 1 grade. Let's take a look and see what we're dealing with this week with regards to grading. Now, the 5th 6 weeks, according to the district, is ending this Friday, April 3rd. That's going to close out the 5th 6 weeks. And with the closing out of the 5th 6 weeks and grades going into your report card, we have some little bit of flexibility to help adjust those grades if they're not where you want them to be at this point. With our major grades for the 5th 6 weeks, and this is where I need you to pay attention very carefully, we are only going to be having 1 major grade this 6 weeks, the 5th 6 weeks, and that is the period 7 parts 1 and part 2 exam, which you already took in class. There's reasons why we only have 1 major grade right now, and that's because students were seated in a classroom environment, and that major grade is being assessed on an equal playing field, if you will. And so everybody has had the opportunity to be assessed equally. I can't have some students having taken a test in class and then take a test online and have the same kind of fairness, for a lack of better terms. So our only major grade this 6 weeks will be the period 7 part 1 and part 2 exam. Now, for some of you worried about that grade, if it was not good, I'm going to talk to you about a retesting option here in just a second. So breathe in with me. Patience, calmness. So the major grade for the fifth 6 weeks will be the period 7 test. For the minor grades, you've already taken the chapter 22 quiz. That's the SAQs that we had, the 2 SAQs that we had on World War I. Everybody has taken the chapter 22 quiz. That grade is already in hack. The chapter 23 and 24 quiz, that was the multiple choice quiz on the Roaring Twenties, Great Depression, and the New Deal. Everybody has taken that quiz. So I have 100% participation, I guess, taking of the chapter 22 and then the 23 and 24 quiz. Now, what the district needs from me is a third minor grade to close out the fifth 6 weeks. Now, some of you took the chapter 25 quiz, that SAQ, which is still sitting in a cabinet in my classroom, and I can't access that. So I can't grade those. And for students that took them in class and students that didn't take it out of class, it wouldn't be fair to have those students take some from home and the rest of you guys took them from inside the classroom. So we are going to be using the atomic bomb context and thesis. I'm going to give you that atomic bomb context on thesis on Tuesday, and you will have all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday to write simply a context and thesis answering the question, should the United States or was the United States justified on dropping the bomb on Japan? And once you turn in that context and thesis, that will give me all day Thursday and all day Friday to grade it. And then I will put that third minor grade in hack. And then the daily grades, which you already have in hack, if you look at your home access center, you'll see the World War I neutrality, and you'll see the Roaring Twenties micro-right along with the TLOs for period 7, parts 1 and 2 test. Now, I want you to look at hack very carefully, because if you have anything that's missing in those grades, particularly with the TLOs, I want to provide you with an opportunity to make those up throughout the week as well. So you need to contact me personally through Remind or email, and I will set up a separate assessment for you to make up those missing grades. But by and large, most of you guys should have the opportunity to have gotten those turned in. And then we're going to be having our Pearl Harbor micro-right that you already are completing tonight. Basically, you're going to turn in tonight. That's not going to go on this grading cycle. That's only going to go on the 6th 6 weeks. All right, so let's backtrack. Let's look at our slideshow here for just a second. The 5th 6 weeks, it ends on Friday. One major grade, period 7 exam. The minor grades are 2 quizzes you've already taken. And this atomic bomb context and thesis that you'll write for me this week will be the other minor grade. We've got a smattering of daily grades in there, including the World War I neutrality micro-right and the Roaring Twenties micro-right. If you didn't get a chance to write those, I will give those to you separately. Just email me and you could turn that in to me. I'll set up a separate portal for you on Canvas. And then the TLOs parts 1 and 2 for that period 7 test already should be done. And then the Pearl Harbor micro-right that you're doing tonight or should have already done, that's going to go on the next 6th 6 weeks. Now, a couple of other questions I'm sure you have. There will be no opportunities for extra credit beyond this point. So go ahead and make sure you get, I'm going to be grading the micro-rights very liberally. Not going to have the kind of sternness that I've had in the past with that 100 or 0. If you get something turned into me, you'll be fine. But I just want to inform you that the APUSH team has decided that we're not taking any IGs for any extra credit, and there's no opportunities for that. So you'll need to get what you have already in and get that into the grade book so you'll be in good shape for the 5th 6 weeks. Now let's talk a little bit about that period 7 test. If you got below an 80 on the test, that's why we're not offering extra credit. We are extending now the opportunity to retest for those students that got below an 80 on this examination. If you got an 82, I'm sorry, you do not get to retest on this. And that will only bring your grade up to an 80. So if you got a 76 and you want to retest, we can bring it up to an 80. If you got a 70 on the test, you can retest and bring that up to an 80. If you got a 55 on the test, you can retest and bring it up to an 80. But if you got an 82 on this test, raw score, then you cannot retest because you can't get anything higher than an 80 on that retest. So please reach out to me. I am not going to systematically go through the grade book and try to contact each one of you. That's your responsibility. If you want to retest, contact me on Remind or send me an email and I'll set up that retest for you. But that retest needs to be completed by Wednesday at 11:59 on Canvas. So you can already get a hold of me tonight if you want to. I'll have my Remind alerts and email open this evening, and you can message me and I'll get that retest to you. So you have plenty of time to get it done Wednesday at 11:59. Now, with regards to the sixth 6 weeks, well, there's no direction on tests or quizzes just yet. I don't have any information on how we're going to test or how we're going to quiz for the sixth 6 weeks. Again, like I said, short-term objectives, long-term goals. Your APUSH team, your administration, your campus coordinators, and the district are all working to get these things in slowly and by piecemeal. And so we had to get the platform set up, get the calendar rearranged, small incremental grading, and getting the fifth 6 weeks behind us. And we will wait and get the sixth 6 weeks taken care of later. We'll get that figured out here because that's going to be proclamated largely upon our return to campus. And we are scheduled to go back April 13th, but we at least the sensation that I'm getting is that might be a little bit challenging, just watching the way that the pandemic is expanding in the days behind us and the days in front of us. All right, so there it is in a nutshell. Just to briefly recap the fifth 6 weeks, one major grade. We've already got 2 minor grades in there, and the third quiz that you'll be doing is going to be that atomic bomb micro write that you'll have turned into me on Wednesday. I know. I said the beginning of this past week, everything's going to be due on Sunday night. But for this purposes, I just need to move that one particular assessment to Wednesday night at midnight so I can get those grades in for you on the fifth 6 weeks. As always, I'm here for you. This is not a time to panic. This seems pretty straightforward to me. Hopefully it seems pretty straightforward to you. Just continue to communicate with me. If you got below an 80 on that test, reach out. I'll be more than happy to work with you on that because we're in this together. Like I said, this is all new to us. This is new to you, but I think open and frank communication is the most important thing. And so I want you to have these bits of information at your disposal so you can do what's best for you to stay successful in the course, which I know you will because you're awesome. That's just how you are. We've got a pretty good busy week ahead of us, so try to stay on top of things. But if you start to get behind because of other classes and because of other responsibilities at home, I can't stress this enough. Please reach out to me and we'll be able to work together so we can ensure I'm your partner in this and I want to ensure your ultimate success. If you have any other questions for me, like I said, reach out on the FAQ section of the forum, ask me on Remind, send me an email. But just a quick little fireside chats to touch base with you, tell you I'm thinking about you at Sunday night, but have new direction on what we're doing with grades. And so hopefully that's provide some clarity for you here with our week that we have before us. I'll see you online tomorrow with our great lessons beginning on the militarization and military campaigns during World War II. And then we'll get into Japan's, the bombing of Japan on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we'll have a period 7 overview. Thursday, we'll have the AP classroom, and Friday, Zoom. So we got our week planned out ahead of us. Stay well, stay healthy, and maybe I'll run into some ducks here in the near future. Miss you guys. Thank you so much for your continued cooperation and your energy. And I can't wait to continue our learning in the days and weeks ahead. Nesossi out.